If I could say something to you as a Christian coming from Australia, as a man who has no earthly right being on this stage, I want you to hear from me as a Christian that in both my country and yours, we are suffering in many ways as Christians. We are now the descendants of people who spilled their blood and fought for us to have what we have today. And shame on us for not fighting a fight like they fought. See, here's the thing. We think oftentimes, well, we're beset on all sides by unbelief and hostile people to our worldview. You see, our ancestors, they had it good for themselves. They lived in a time where maybe there was more people that had a biblical worldview, and we're just not there anymore. We have a lot more to go. Don't you understand, brothers and sisters, if you look at the history of the Christian church, it was during the times of the greatest transformation that there was the most darkness. When you think about, even in my own country, the Great Reformation, the Great Awakening, look at the life of a Christian like George Whitefield. Is he liked by Australians, or is this a bad guy? Okay, all right, good. So, okay, good, okay. I got to be careful what I talk about. You guys talk about the king, and I'm like, we difficult, cultural differences. Yeah, I say, okay, that's a different subject for a different time. Okay. When you think about a person like George Whitefield, if you look at his history and his life, the Great Awakening, what God did in that man, preaching the gospel back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, preached like 18,000 sermons, literally preached himself to death. When you look at his history, read J.C. Ryle's biography of George Whitefield. Amazing. What you recognize is, when you hear the story of George Whitefield, you recognize that when he was being brought up by God, he was in the same kind of context we face today in a church. Same kind of context. People in churches preaching your best life kind of messages, no hard repentance and faith gospel, sort of a lackadaisical Christianity, like, whatever, indifferent, no big deal sort of a thing. Let's just go with the flow, comfort. And when George Whitefield came in, he came in like a rocket launcher. He came in with a message of repentance, the need for regeneration, to be born again, to come to faith in Jesus Christ. And when he came with his message, as hard as it was, preaching repentance with boldness, God actually did something. He went out into the fields and preached, and we had thousands and thousands and thousands of people coming to him to listen to this gospel that was 100-proof gospel. People say, oh, George Whitefield was in the fields preaching the gospel, so mighty. He had so many people coming to listen to him, thousands of people. You know why he was in the fields? Because the church kicked him out. His message was too strong. It was too direct, too offensive. And brothers and sisters, it is for us, I think our time, it is shameful for us as Christians when we don't face the unbelieving world in the way that Christ calls us to, recognizing the futility of their unbelief and their need for Jesus Christ.